Good evening and welcome to The Core, coming to you from the Northeast Children Trust Learning Center in Maiduguri, Northeast Nigeria. I am Kadria Ahmed. In the 9 years since the start of the Boko Haram insurgency in northeast Nigeria, the people of this region have experienced harrowing times, from newly born babies who die from acute malnutrition to children, boys and girls who are abducted, raped, killed, or turned into suicide bombers. That has been the lot of thousands of children of the northeast since the start of the conflict. Those that manage to survive have very little chance of a normal life. 1,200 schools have been destroyed in this region, and according to UNICEF, over 1 million children are out of school. Life is obviously no better for the adults who have also been killed in the thousands. Others have been forced out of their homes, watching helplessly as Boko Haram unleashes havoc in their communities, causing untold hardship, including sometimes irreparable psychological trauma to them and their families. It is estimated that up to 2.5 million people have been displaced. Many are no longer able to work, to earn a living, and have to depend on some sort of support to survive. 20,000 people are estimated to be living in camps which have major problems, including abuse, extortion, and theft by those charged with looking after the displaced. Today on The Core, coming to you from Maiduguri, the capital city of Borno State, we focus on the people of northeastern Nigeria and their lives since the beginning of the Boko Haram insurgency. So, what is the most difficult of the challenges the people of this region have had to contend with as a result of this conflict? This was the question I put to the governor of Borno State, Malam Kashim Shettima.
I believe there is nothing as traumatic, as devastating, as dehumanizing as to be uprooted from your home, and overnight you are turned into a destitute. Mm-hmm. Some have become refugees in neighboring countries with all the indignities associated with living in other people's land. Some have been uprooted from their homelands and turned into internally displaced within the nation, in different parts of the nation. Such things, poverty is romantic only in books. Poverty compounded with uprooting people is the most dehumanizing of human experiences. So they have been robbed of their dignity, and that's the most painful aspect of the insurgency.
We've had cause to be very concerned about the conduct of the caregivers of internally displaced people. We've heard stories of IDPs being extorted for sex in return for food. Amnesty has talked about abuse by soldiers who basically exchange food in return again for sex. We've heard about food meant for IDPs being sold in the market. What are your thoughts regarding all these forms of abuse of the most vulnerable in your community?
Well, my own take on it is that historically speaking, when you bring in people of different backgrounds and camp them in a single settlement, you will be faced with challenges in from those.
No, but that's you're almost implying. No, hang on. What you are almost implying by saying that is that the challenges are between the displaced who have been brought together from different places. The stories we're hearing is not about issues between people who are sharing camps. We're hearing stories about officials who belong to agencies that are supposed to look after displaced people and who are misbehaving and abusing their positions of trust and authority.
What I'm saying is that historically, IDP camps are riven with such challenges of early child marriages, of prostitution rings, of drug abuse, of extortion, and so on. And unfortunately, If you look at the body language of the international community, very many of them do not want the movement of our people.
Why do you say that? You believe they wouldn't want them to return?
Why I'm saying this is that...
Is it out of concern because they think the places are not safe? What's the reason?
We are not returning the people back to their villages now. We are largely returning them back to rebuild towns, local government headquarters, like Gudumbali, like Bama, like Monguno, like Pulka. And I see no reason why. Because, you know, for our people, they would rather eat gari and groundnut in the comfort of their homes than to be fed rice and chicken in IDP camps. They have been robbed of their dignity. And in IDP camps, with the passage of time, one, the issue of entitlement complex will crop up. Indolence, people expect to be paid and clothed. And the issue of selling of foods and all mismanagement will come in. We have been addressing them frontally. We have prosecuted some young men that were part of that gang of people that were selling of foodstuff meant for the IDPs.
You mentioned the international community and your belief that their body language seems to suggest that they don't want refugees or displaced people to go back to their homes. It sounds a lot like deflection, almost as if you're trying to blame them for the things that are going wrong in the camps.
Things are going wrong in the camps. We are making efforts to address the human element factor involved. But as for me, the final solution is to restore back the dignity of our people. And the only way
But how secure are these places that you want to take the people back to? I'll give you an example. A place like Bama, for example, where the home of the emir was attacked. I understand you've rebuilt Bama, including the palace, but he himself is finding it difficult to go and settle back in that community because of the trauma he has gone through. And it seems as if for you, you're not sort of taking all of that into account.
We have been quite reasonable. In Bama, we have a security architecture with over 1,000 soldiers, with 2,000 civilian JTF, with the Nigerian police force, with the Nigerian civil defense force, with the Nigerian immigration services, and somebody is telling me Bama is not secure. The Shehu is going back by next month. We have reviewed his home, where the home needs to be punished. There are certain cultural artifacts, some paraphernalia of office that goes with the traditional institution that needs to be secured before he gets back home. He is itching to go back.
Contrary to what I heard, which is that he's scared to go back.
No, you know, people, he was traumatized, understandably. So also are all the people of Borno. There was a time I couldn't sleep for 3 days. We are all traumatized. But then we are very resilient people. We have to pick up the pieces of our lives. He's the leader of Bama, very proudly so, and he's going back to his community by next month. The Emir of Goda celebrated his Salah, the last Eid al-Adha in Goda, just to show to the people that he's with them and he's itching to go back.
Are you working closely with the private sector? And what are your thoughts regarding some of the initiatives that have taken place?
Well, we got support, very robust support from some individuals, not entirely from the private sector. Some are petrified of coming to the Northeast. Some are afraid of coming to Borno. I say Borno is the Afghanistan, is the Mazari Sharab of Nigeria. The vice president, with no intent to play to the gallery, has internalized the Christian faith. He's a real man of God. An Ijebu man from the southwest, from Ikene, he mobilized the private sector and built a school, a learning center, first of its kind in the whole of the Northeast, to cater to the needs of our people. You know, Martin Luther King said, the ultimate measure of a man is not why he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but why he stands at times of challenge and controversy. In times of challenge, while we are facing real existential threats in the Northeast, that's when people like the president, people like the vice president brought to bear their humanity on us. And I think he deserves special commendation. And when the history of this epoch is written, believe me, his name will be written in gold.
So you are optimistic then, given this sort of activity that is taking place, led by people like the Vice President and all the other things we've been talking about the future of Borno, about the fact that Borno and the Northeast will see the back of Boko Haram, and a safe, viable, economically prosperous Northeast will be possible.
Kadaria, hope springs eternal from the hearts of men. I am an eternal optimist. But I am also a realist. Realism requires us to make deliberate efforts. The population of Nigeria is now at about 200 million. By 2050, we'll surpass the United States. Nigeria will be the third most populous nation on earth with a population of 450 million. And the most frightening aspect of this statistic is that by 2050, 70% of Nigerians will live in northern Nigeria with desertification, with deforestation, with endemic poverty, with pervasive illiteracy. The anticipated demographic bulge, we can turn it into demographic dividends, or it will be the demographic disaster that will consume all of us.